Hello, everybody. Brian from NFI here, and I wanted to talk about training, specifically making sure you train with the gear that you plan on fighting with. Train the way you fight is kind of what we say. And it's really important because only through training with your gear are you able to discover weaknesses, gaps. A lot of times you figure out, hey, this piece of gear that I have doesn't work for me in this situation. Um, I bring this up because we recently had an AR training weekend. It was actually a lot of fun, 16 hours. Um, the weekend was full of just putting our firearms to the test in a lot of different situations and scenarios. The second day, which was Sunday, it rained all day. So you talk about putting yourself in an environment that stresses your gear and finds your limitation. That was the day. We had a lot of fun. We put a lot of rounds down range. But I discovered something about my setup, and in particular, my flashlight. So I love the Surefire HLX flashlight set. It's a very economical but still effective flashlight for the AR-15. The problem is the light switch or the actuator switch it comes with, it has some failure points. Um, and I discovered that only after the class was done because I've done a lot of range shooting with my flashlight. I've done a lot of drills with my flashlight, but only after that 8 hours of continuous training in the rain did I discover a failure point. And that was, as you can see, this switch, this little plastic piece tore. And what happens was rain got in here and it compromised the switch, right? So um, two things. One, I discovered that I don't like this switch poking out like that because it's a point of a snagging. Obviously, it's not metal, so it's more about the opportunity for this to tear easily, right? And also, the switch itself is not durable. It's not waterproof. Now, granted, if this button had stayed intact, the the switch would function fine because no water would get inside. But obviously, I discovered for myself a failure point, and so I got a I upgraded. I got a better switch that's flush and it's more durable. But I wouldn't have been able to discover this failure point unless I had actually done the training with my setup in a harsh environment. So obviously, you never want a life critical incident to be the moment where you discover failure points in your gear or gaps in your training. And so that's why it's important to get out, train with your gear, train the way you're going to fight in the scenarios you're going to be fighting, uh, defending yourself in, whether it's home invasion or personal protection, or if you're LEO or military, obviously. That's what their training is based off situations and circumstances that they're going to engage in the field. So this was another reminder to me of how important it is to get your gear out there and train hard so you can expose gaps like this. Now, am I going to be fighting in the rain? Am I going to be using my air in the rain? I don't know, right? But I'd rather discover this in training and fix it than obviously in a life critical incident. And this applies obviously not just to long guns, it applies to handguns, it applies to all of your kit and all of your gear that you deem necessary for your daily personal protection. So I hope this is a great reminder. Get out, get your kit together, get your gear together, train, expose those weaknesses, find those failure points, and make corrections. Again, this is Brian. I have a lot of classes upcoming. I have some advanced classes, and I do have this AR weekend again in the winter at the end of this year. Hope to see you on the range. Stay safe, keep training.